Yes, this video is in response to an article that I uploaded to my YouTube account, actually my Facebook account, sorry. I uploaded so many videos to YouTube, but this was an article to my Facebook account on my timeline. Some people are very curious as to what is taking place um, in the neurological aspect of those diagrams. They said they're seeing very medical or even beyond their understanding, and for me to explain it, it's very simple. I did neuroscience as a researcher for maybe 1 or 2 years, and I got an understanding of what's going on. But the more applicable part of it is, or even the relevant part of it is when I was able to interact with Alzheimer's individuals. I worked as a counselor for 14 years, so I think I'm well versed on the topic of Alzheimer's. I was able to witness one-on-one how people actually lose certain portions of their memory and even their brain. And the thing with Alzheimer's, or even with the article was very interesting. They told us straight up front that they weren't going to talk about the scientific aspects of Alzheimer's. They just spoke about what children should do when they go to the doctor and how they should behave and different things of that nature. But for a child to have Alzheimer's at such a young age, I didn't really see the correlation because Alzheimer's doesn't really set until later on when the brain is deteriorating and different things like that. It's slightly different from dementia, but I won't focus on that right now. I'll just stick to Alzheimer's. So the scientific cause of Alzheimer's involves the degradation or extraction of certain parts of the brain. One's memory is important in learning and doing new things and should always be intact. When the memory is tampered with by drugs or even alcohol abuse, uh, older people tend to find it harder to remember certain things relevant to maintaining their independence. So yes, you'll find that Alzheimer's can affect the brain in such a way that whatever they've learned before, they're not able to retrieve that knowledge in how they respond to a new stimuli or environment or people, and that is sad. I had an interaction once where my flight and fright response was delayed. I was actually interacting with a dog, and the dog had just had baby pups, and I took one up, and it didn't really seem as if it was something I should have done because the dog interpreted as if I was threatening to take her pup away, and she tried to attack me. She ran me down, and after a while, I realized that my fright and flight response was delayed. So yes, your memory plays a key role in your fright and flight response. It helps you to know when danger is arising or when you're in the sight of danger and when you're supposed to flee away from that. And I've learned over the years to adjust and adapt to different ways of dealing with that issue. But yes, I stay away from pups and dogs unless I know definitely I'm not threatening them. So the issue, I've been reading the Epoch recently, and this is a magazine, a newspaper that is given out, circulated in New York City, and it had a really nice color scheme of the brain, where it shows the front part being the focus, and then on top it shows a blue area, which is the attention. Towards the posterior of the human brain is the memory, and it is color-coded green. And further down is an orange portion they call creativity, and that leads to the body. There's also a white portion towards the left, and they say that is sort of speed. And then there's also another dark blue area they label as flexibility, and that's at the downward right side. You may find that with humans, we have somehow evolved in an upright position and we process information on a vertical level. So we see something or observe something, and then it is passed through the eyes, and we focus it and make sense of what exactly it is. And then both the memory and your attention sort of intertwine and interact, and you're able to extract prior knowledge as to what you're interacting with or seeing. And that is helpful. As that information is processed, then it is neurons send stimuli to the body as to how you should react. So in that fright and flight response I mentioned, yes, your neurons will dictate how you react based on your memory. So if you find you can't really do something, then you may not remember how to do it. Learning a new language also involves memory, because you find that if you can't remember certain conditional tenses, then you won't speak or write as well. So memory is very important. It should always stay intact. I would say attention and focus as well. So I will never mess with that. Africans have a saying that the spirit resides in the head, and therefore they try to protect their head on a regular basis as well. There's a difference between human and canine way of processing information. You find that for humans, it is in a clockwise position, and then for canine, it's in an anti-clockwise position. The reason for this is because of the lateral motion or processing that the canine body allows. So you find that dogs, they don't really learn anything new, but they actually are conditioned to do certain things. So dogs rely heavily on their memory in retrieving prior knowledge and making it applicable to new knowledge. And in that moment, their caregiver would get their attention as to what they want them to do at the moment, and they put things in focus. So you find that for dogs, it's lateral, but in an anti-clockwise position. And basically, that is what I could talk about Alzheimer's. I think dogs would suffer some sort of memory degradation, but maybe not at the extent as human, because it may not be so obvious. But I'm very in tune with my canine brothers and sisters, so I will know definitely if a dog is not acting themselves, then something is wrong. You want to make sure you observe your pets, and that is important. The issue of not being able to grasp certain things involves your fine and gross motor skills. You find that people who send a lot of text messages, their fine motor skills are overused, and eventually could even become impaired, and they may suffer carpal tunnel syndrome. And yeah, that's just the overuse of the fingers, trying to do things on a fine, detailed level. So you find that if that's the case, you want to upgrade to a larger screen or even a keyboard where you could use the keyboard and the keys at a more comfortable and even more at ease, and that's helpful. Some things you could do is like exercise. Yoga helps the blood to circulate and strengthens the body. You find that Pilates also helps elongate and even stretches the body and also helps in circulation. I do a lot of Pilates. Gives you a really nice stretch and an elongated figure. And for even brisk walking, where you walk and you shake your hands in a brisk fashion, so then it helps blood to circulate to the lower extremities. And you could even extrapolate whatever you're learning on the biomolecular level, where it refers to the brain, and talk about crime. You find that some people say they weren't even aware of what they were doing, because you may find that their memory may have been impaired or somehow tampered with, and that is helpful. So you find that under certain circumstances, they don't allow some people to take the stand if they were under the influence of alcohol or drug use, because they said they were impaired and that wouldn't be relevant. So yes, there's a lot to learn about the brain, and I'll read and continue to keep you posted.